All right, so this week I really wanted to encourage you to work through this PowerPoint. I've provided a Zoom meeting between myself and a cabinet worker. Her name is Whitney Johnson. If you recognize her name, it's because she's in this program and she's a student in this course. She has quite a few years behind her in working in child welfare. And I provided this Zoom presentation to you guys because we need to always utilize each other. You know, it's an example of while you're in this course and you're seeking guidance from a professor, in addition to that, you can seek guidance from a fellow classmate. For instance, someone who has extensive experience in a certain sector of the field of social work. So please go give the Zoom interview a watch because I think you'll gain quite a bit from it. This PowerPoint, I'm not even going to click through it. It's very rich in history of child welfare, a lot of statistics. You can review that on your own. What I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight, more so, and what I find might be more helpful for you maybe, is so Whitney in our interview talks a lot about child welfare from one side of the bench as the witness. And I can bring to you guys some of my experience from the other side of the bench in working for a judge and expectations, etc. A lot of you have emailed me about, what's it like to testify in court? What am I looking at? What should I expect? And I want you guys to feel comfortable as you move through the system. So first and foremost, you're an advocate. First and foremost, you are a representative of the family that you're working with. And in child welfare, once a case is brought before a judge, and watch my interview again with Whitney, she brings a lot to the table from the social worker perspective, right? But once you bring a case in front of a judge, I want to give you guys a little bit of insight just from my background in working for a judge. So you're going to bring a case in front of a judge as a CHFS worker, child welfare. And the way that you do that is in the form of a petition of neglect or abuse or dependency. Neglect and abuse goes without saying. Dependency, though, is always kind of what the heck does dependency mean? So dependency means at no fault of the parent. So when you're looking at a dependency case, maybe you're looking at a case where a child's parent is deceased and it's at no fault of that parent because that parent is deceased that this child needs services. So dependency means at no fault of the parent. You would file a dependency petition in a case of, like I said, the death of a parent. Maybe a custodian can no longer take on or bear the responsibility of maintaining custody of a child that they initially thought they could maintain custody of, and the parent still isn't in a place to take custody of the child. Dependency may be, I had a case once where the parent had an illness that prohibited her from caring adequately for her child. You might file a dependency petition on something like that. Abuse and neglect are more so the issues of abuse and neglect are going to come up more often because those cases are going to involve substance use, physical abuse, sexual abuse, just general neglect, not getting your kid to school on time. You'll see things like that. So moving through the court system, I just kind of wanted to go over this with you guys. You'll file a petition. You'll be seen by a judge, and there will be a prosecutor, right? A Commonwealth attorney, a prosecutor. Terms are interchangeable, and you'll start to understand as you move through the process. The prosecutor will determine whether or not it's feasible to proceed on a case. It's not the judge's decision to proceed upon a case. It is the prosecutor's decision. The burden of proof is upon them. So they have to prove their case. So as a social worker, we bring a case to the court system and we present it. And it's reviewed by a prosecutor or Commonwealth attorney. And they will then decide whether or not they think they have enough evidence to move forward. And if they do, they'll move forward. And then the case will move into a phase which we refer to in family court as an adjudication. In criminal court, that's referred to as a trial. But as a social worker and in child welfare, you're going to find yourself in family court more often. So it's going to move into a phase of adjudication. And that is when the Commonwealth will call witnesses, and you will be a witness if you are a social worker for the cabinet. And if you filed the petition yourself, especially, you're the spotlight witness. So you need to know your case when you go in there. And then we'll move into what we refer to in family court as a dispositional hearing. And in that hearing, you will provide the courts with written recommendations, a plan. You'll have created goals and objectives for your clients in regaining custody. And if custody hasn't been removed, you'll create goals and objectives on whatever it is that your client might have a deficiency, might be experiencing a deficiency in. So once the dispositional hearing occurs, you'll face potentially a series of review hearings. And the entire time that you're involved with this family, you're really working towards a goal of reunification. These families, you are their advocate. It's your job as a social worker for the cabinet to target their needs and then to assist them in achieving whatever goals they might have and monitoring court orders. And I'll tell you one thing that really impacted me as a social worker and that I want you to keep in mind as you move through the court system. The judge that I worked for, he always would tell us as social workers, trust but verify. So you will talk with your clients and they will tell you, I've been so compliant in this program and I need to get my kids back, and I've been going to the methadone clinic daily just like I'm supposed to and just like I'm court ordered. But what you're going to need to do as a social worker is obtain releases of information. You're going to need to verify. At the court level, they require that it's required that you verify the information that you're receiving. So check, listen, but also always verify with your clients. Let me see. Let me click through this really quickly and see if there's anything I want to highlight for you. Again, like I said, there's a lot of, let me see here. Understanding the role of federal programs, they change frequently. So also be on top of federal changes and policy changes. Like right now, the cabinet, they operate upon a policy that they refer to as Family First Prevention Act. It's a newer policy where they really work to exhaust resources with families prior to bringing cases before the judges. So, just always staying on top of policy changes as a practitioner is very important. Let's see here. Child welfare. More. Whitney really goes through the process of once a report is made and what happens after. So, like I said, give my Zoom meeting a watch with Whitney. She really explains it very clearly. And just keep in mind that if you suspect neglect or abuse, it is mandated, at least in the state of Kentucky, to report that. And then Whitney and I talked a little bit about self-care tonight. It's very important that you maintain your own well-being. A lot of cases that you're going to work through in child welfare are going to be, they can cause burnout. They are intense. So keep in mind your self-care is important. You can't help someone if you can't help yourself. So always keep that in check. Find things that bring you joy. Find a support system. And then we'll see. So moving into next week, your core assignment, one of your first written assignments are due. And so far, you guys are doing a tremendous job keeping up with our weekly participation activities. I thoroughly enjoy reading what you guys are providing. I think there's a thirst for knowledge out there, and I appreciate everything that you guys are bringing to the table. Things you guys are making me think about as I navigate through this course with you, things that maybe I can bring to you. So as you think of ideas, what you want to learn, let me know. And I hope you guys are well.